Hey guys, I want to do a quick video about how do you master the carnivore adaptation phase. So when you first do a carnivore diet, the truth is in the beginning, you probably won't feel that great for the first couple of weeks. Some of the things you might experience might be brain fog, or you might feel lethargic, low energy, your gym performance might go down, your breath might actually smell a little bit different. That's called acetone in the breath. That's something that changes once you switch over to a carnivore diet. It's part of the adaptation, it's temporary. But you'll notice a couple of these different changes, mainly with the brain fog and a headachy feeling, and your energy might be a little bit lower. And you know, some people think, oh, well, that's a sign that the diet doesn't work. You know, I tried carnivore for, you see so many articles like this. I tried carnivore for 7 days. Here's what happened. And it's the stupidest thing I've ever read, because it's like, it takes months to fully adapt to a, to a ketogenic or carnivore diet. So you tried it for a week and it didn't work? Well, no, obviously. I mean, that's clear. So what's actually happening is there are a few major changes going on in the body. First one is fluid rebalancing. Now, you know, your electrolytes and your fluids are being rebalanced in the body because you're switching from a carbohydrate-based metabolism to a fat-based metabolism. So when your body begins to preferentially now use fat, because that's the most available fuel source in the body, that changes a lot of the fluid balance in your body. Carbohydrates hold on to water. 1 gram of carbs holds on to 3 grams of water. So when you let go of all the carbs and you go low carb or cut all the carbs out, that's a lot of water leaving your body. So one of the things you have to do there is incorporate more salt. We'll talk about that in a second. The next thing that's happening is you're switching from burning primarily sugar to now burning primarily fat. That is going to incorporate a lot of mitochondrial changes in the body. The powerhouses in your cells are now going to have to learn how to use a different fuel source. So that's important as well. Third thing is that you're going to have a hormonal rebalancing, and you might even experience a decrease in your T3 in your thyroid. So it's really going to be changing a lot of your hormones because your body is going to be fueled differently. So that's important to know. Now, okay, so you feel a little bit worse and you go through this adaptation period. How do you make it easier on yourself? How do you really get through this without feeling terrible? Well, there's a few tips and a few solutions that I want to share with you. The first one is the one that nobody wants to hear, but you need to eat more. So when you're doing a carnivore diet in the first couple of weeks, everybody's doing it, or 99% of people are doing it because they're trying to lose fat, they're trying to lose weight. So they do carnivore and they're like, oh sweet, I'm on the carnivore diet, I'm gonna lose all this weight, and they eat less. They don't eat enough, and they feel even worse, and then they end up putting the weight back on. If you really want to adapt to this, you need to eat more. You don't want to overstress your body. It's stressful enough that your body has to use a new fuel source. Now you're gonna give it less food, and you're probably gonna start fasting and exercising and doing all these things. It's better to take these one at a time. Now, if you've already been keto adapted, or you've been doing a keto diet for a while now, it's gonna be much, much easier for you. But if you haven't been doing that, you're definitely gonna wanna be consuming a lot more meat and fat. So I would recommend ribeyes, fattier ground beef, lots of whole eggs, fatty fish, things like salmon. So definitely eat more. And I would also recommend, when you're carnivore adapting, do not fast. Just forget about fasting, because that's also stressful to the body. So in that stage, I would recommend, just wait until you're hungry and then eat until you're full. But don't try to force yourself to do a 16-hour fast, a 20-hour fast, a 23-and-1. Don't try to do any of that stuff. It's really gonna, it's gonna shoot yourself in the foot. So just stick to focusing on nailing the diet. Over time, yes, you will be able to implement all of those other things. But for the first month, I would say, just don't worry about any of that. Now, the next thing I would recommend is really focus on salt. So yes, you're gonna wanna salt the foods that you're eating, the beef and the eggs and things like that, but I would also recommend checking out some salty bone broth. So you can get some good bone broth like chicken or things like that, but definitely incorporate more salt, because that's gonna help you pull in more of the electrolytes in your body, the magnesium, the potassium, things like that, and it's really gonna help out with that fluid rebalancing that you're going through. So that's the next thing I would recommend. Third thing is cut out all HIIT training. So high intensity interval training or any sort of intense anaerobic training, I would recommend cutting it out completely. It's gonna burn through muscle glycogen, which is really just gonna make the adaptation period harder for you. What I would recommend is focus on walking and focus on weightlifting 3 times a week. Don't weightlift any more than 3 times a week. Stick to about 2 to 3 times a week with weightlifting. You can walk every single day. That's actually gonna help out with the fat adaptation because walking is lipolytic, which is a fat burning exercise. So that's what I would recommend in terms of exercise. Also, sleep. You're definitely gonna wanna make sure that you are sleeping as much as possible. Your body is making these adaptations, it's making these changes. So if you're sleeping, that allows your body the time to really go through each of these changes that are happening to your entire body. Your brain is feeling itself differently, your muscles are feeling themselves differently. So you want to give your body the stress-free environment to go through that adaptation. I took some notes, so let me make sure that I'm touching on everything here. That's basically it. Oh, last one that I want to add on to that is some people, when they're consuming a carnivore diet at the beginning, their gallbladder and their pancreas are not fully adapted to consuming that much dietary fat. So they might need some digestive support in the form of either ox bile, or you might want to take a lipase supplement. You can find a lot more great information about that on meat.health. I highly recommend that website by Kevin Stock, Dr. Kevin Stock. Incredible resource there, meat.health. And he'll talk more about, taking ox bile or doing a lipase supplement or, doing a betaine HCl. So things that'll basically just help out with digestive enzymes and with gallbladder support, pancreas support, so that you can digest the meat and that you're not going to have so many digestive issues. So those are my main tips. One last one, try to sweat during this adaptation period. I'm not talking about sprints and going crazy with it, but just try to get some sweating in, whether you go in a sauna or you go for a long walk when it's hot outside. Try to get some sweating in. It's gonna help detox your body. It's also gonna help bring your stress levels down. So I highly recommend that. So those are my tips. You will definitely get through the carnivore adaptation period. It takes a couple weeks. Just give yourself 3 weeks. It might be done much sooner than that. You might feel great after 1 week or after 2 weeks. Or it might take you 4 weeks, but give yourself that time, because think about it. This is an eating strategy that you can then use until you are 95 to stay in amazing health and in amazing shape. So it's worth the long-term investment. And the other thing I would say about that is you become metabolically flexible once you go through these changes. So once you've done this for 6 months maybe, and you've made all these changes, and you decide to bring back in some carbs, you will still maintain the changes that you've made. Your mitochondria will still be flexible. You will still have that metabolic flexibility, and that is a worthy goal to reach for. So that's all for today. This was a longer video than usual, but I hope you guys enjoyed it and I hope you got some info from it. As always, I just came out with the Carnivore Calisthenics program. New carnivore workouts, new calisthenics workouts every week for 8 weeks. This will help you get lean and ripped without needing a gym membership, just pure body weight training. So if you want to check that out, primalbody.co/carnivore-calisthenics. Link is down below. Check it out, guys. Peace.